Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
From what I understand, Kevin Carius of Sports 1440 called that Connor Brown goal last night, his first of the season. Am I right on that, Dick? Did you nail it?
Yes, you are exactly right. We had that yesterday morning on Sports 1440. And the reason why, Hot Rod, was because yesterday was Good Samaritan Day. So I figured, you know what? Because of what Connor Brown did in Pittsburgh on Sunday, where he had a chance to shoot with 2-3 seconds left in the game, instead passed off to Darnell Nurse, who had an opportunity for a hat trick. It was a kind of a Good Samaritan move, Good Samaritan Day. So I made the call yesterday, and hey, one went in off his skate, gets off the Schneid, first goal in 72 games, 720 days. And the building was, I've never seen a bigger 7-2 goal in all my years covering the NHL. Never seen a bigger 7-2 goal. It was really fun to watch, and everyone was really happy for Connor Brown.
I was going to say, explain to the people that don't know outside the Oiler Nation how this had become a thing. Connor McDavid's buddy, Connor Brown, hadn't scored all year. It was becoming, you talk about a monkey on a back. That was an ape.
So he signed in the offseason, and he signs for a league minimum. But because he's an older player, they could extend his contract because the Oilers are, like every team, in salary cap purgatory. So they sign him, but they put $3.25 million towards next year and the signing bonus that will go on next year's cap. Well, he gets out of the gates. He had the knee surgery, extensive knee surgery. He hadn't scored since he played in Ottawa. Gets hurt at the beginning of the year in Washington. Doesn't play. Gets to camp, and he's way behind the 8 ball in the sense of where he is compared to other players. It took him a long time just to get going, but now he's really snake bitten. He can't find the net, go off the crossbar, off everything, and fans are getting on him because they think that he's the second line right winger that was brought in.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Will the Jets get out of round one? 58% of people are saying yes, they will. That's the last that I looked. You, Darren, did you vote yeah? I think you did vote yes. Did you not? Or did you vote no?
I
just
did,
to be
yeah.
a fly in the ointment. You did? Okay, that's 2 yeses from us. Let's call him Dave, number 3. Writes in and says, hey, Rod and Darren, the Jets will be fine. However, Hellebuck needs to find it again. If anyone wants to fight Lowry, he beats them up. Signed, Dave, number 3 in Winnipeg.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show on, well, what I would like to call a Football Friday. You're going to like this. Some people want to change the name, and I'll get to that in a second. It's episode number 1202 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, and I am ready for the weekend, and over the course of the next 2 hours, you're going to find out why. I'm in the beautiful South Florida studio. Moose is in the Toronto studio, and we got a long ways to go in a short time to get there. And what I mean by that is some big-name guests. Jim Barker going to be with us, our football analyst in hour 1. Jim Lang, Canada's foremost NFL insider in hour 2. And Ernie Whitt, the great Ernie Whitt, Blue Jays great. Now with the Phillies, it looks like from his email address, Ernie Whitt is going to be with us in hour 2. So we're not going to belabor it much more other than to say, Moose, what do you got going on, and do you have big weekend plans?
You know what? Not too much in terms of big weekend plans. Going to settle in, going to chill, watch some sports. It feels like the first weekend in a while with like absolutely nothing going on. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, you do you. You enjoy that. And by the way, while I have a minute, for the viewers here in Florida, we do have a tailgate party for our podcast, the Cats and Bolts podcast. Both Panthers and Lightning fans are invited down to American Bank Arena tomorrow. Lot D55 will be tailgating ahead of the Battle of Florida. Lightning at Panthers 1 till 5. I'll probably be there with Serena around 3 o'clock, maybe 4, but we're tailgating tomorrow here in American Bank Arena parking lot D55. So, yeah, it's all deadly. Can you hit the quick 6 show horn, please, Director Jordan, and we'll go from there. And we'll fire it.
Yes.
It's football. It's football, and we have a lot of football to talk today. But the big story in my world is hockey, and Blake Coleman scored twice in Calgary's 4-goal third period to beat Vegas 4-1 Thursday night in the Saddle Dome. I always hear Peter Marr's voice when I say Saddle Dome, the Hall of Fame voice of the Flames. Yegor Sharangovich had a goal and a helper, and Matt Coronado also scored for the Flames as they snapped a 3-game skid. My friend Vaughn, who you'll never meet, but he'll be watching right now on the replay later today when Game Plus airs it later and he's off work. He says, Happy Flames Friday. I just sent him back the emoji, the rolling eyes emoji. But you gotta love the love for your team that everybody has for their team. Win or lose, maybe we're down right now, but we won last night and we beat those cheaters from Vegas. You got to admire that. You're not going anywhere, but hey, be happy today. You can see how people would feel that way, Moose, don't you?
Oh, it's a big win. Yeah, big win against everybody says a Stanley Cup favorite or a Stanley Cup contender in Vegas. Those Golden Knights are struggling to hang on to the playoffs, but you know what? The Flames pick up a win and all that. I mean, your hopes of having a top 5 draft pick are just not happening. You're going to end up right in the middle. You're going to end up right in the middle, just missing the playoffs. So these wins, do they matter? Not really, but I guess they make the fans feel good.
You cheer however you want to cheer. You should probably want to lose, what Darren's saying. But you cheer however you want. It's Flames Friday for my friend Vaughn and for Flames fans. How about that? If it makes him feel better, as my intuition said to me yesterday, just go with it. Just go with it. Okay. In Tampa, how about this? Braden Point had 3 goals and 3 assists. Nikita Kucherov added a goal and 4 helpers. And the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the New York Rangers 6-3. Who saw that coming? Oh, wait, I did. I picked Tampa to win. I did add up our picks. You did kick my butt last night, though. You had 8 right. I think I only had 4 right. Doesn't matter. You won. Didn't see this coming. If Jedi Kuznetsov had his first goal as a member of the Hurricanes and Freddie Anderson recorded his first shutty in more than a year as Carolina beat Florida 4-0. Tyler Bertuzzi scored the first of 3 first-period goals for Toronto that helped chase goalie Sam Ersson from the net and scored 3 more in the third. For a win for the Leafs at Philly. What was it, 6-2? Did it end up 6-2?
Yeah.
Bingo!
Yeah. And Jake DeBrusk scored 25 seconds into overtime in Boston, beat Montreal 2-1. I didn't include the scores here. That's on me, but Boston won. That's all that matters. You and I both picked that. We're moving on to football here because it is Football Friday. The NFL is reviewing whether the Atlanta Falcons and Philadelphia Eagles violated tampering policies during the legal tampering window, a league spokesman said Thursday. The Falcons agreed to a contract with 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback Kirk Cousins shortly after teams were permitted to start negotiating with unrestricted free agents on Monday, and the Eagles quickly struck a deal with 2-time Pro Bowl running back Saquon Barkley soon after the negotiation period opened at noon Eastern. Teams are permitted to talk directly with agents during the 52-hour negotiation window, but can't speak to the player unless he has no agent and represents himself before that. This is an Ed Hervey type of thing. Like, do you know anything more about this? It just sounds to me that they tripped themselves up. Ed Hervey made a big splash when he was the general manager of the Edmonton Eskimos, announcing Odell Willis 10 seconds into free agency, and the league was like, how did you do that? You're not supposed to talk to him before noon. They tripped themselves up. Do you need to make that public? What's your read on that?
It sounds like it. And, for Giants fans, this isn't going to make this undone. He's not going back to the Giants. The league's not going to mandate him to go somewhere that he doesn't want to be. He's going to play with the Eagles. He's going to be a member of the Eagles. At worst, they may end up with a fine out of this or lose a late round draft pick or something like that. But he's not going back to the Giants. So I don't know if Chris Sanford is thinking that he might. It's not happening.
Chris from the Bronx, are you tuned in, Chris? Which, by the way, before I get to the next NFL item, I mentioned yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, the things I see coming out of NFL free agency this week are lack of loyalty. And another thing is that the fans can't keep it straight. And I saw some guy say, I'm so lost and confused and dizzy over all the movement this week that I'm checking out until the season. And you can't blame the guy. I'm sort of that way, but what I will tell you, these players switching teams like this has not hurt the NFL. Let's drop this right now. Of the 100 most watched television programs in America in 2023, 97 were NFL games. And that includes Louisiana Law, Law and Order, The Bachelor, Survivor, whatever. That? They've made more money than ever. The salary cap went up by $30.6 million per team. It's not causing anybody to check out on the NFL. Have you noticed?
It's not. And the VCR was the start of it, when you could start recording on your cassette tapes, your video cassette tapes. Sports rules live TV. Sports rules live TV. It's the one thing I've often said is, for the most part, PVR proof. And they roll on. And thank God we're in the sports business.
It's funny you say that. I was just, as you're talking, people might have been able to see I was thinking. You might have seen the smoke coming out of my ears. All the complaints that we deal with, and we deal with a lot here. You don't talk about this enough. You don't talk about that enough. You spent too much time on this. You're all watching. So literally bitch away because you care. And they're all paying attention. The day we don't have complaints, then we got bigger problems. Like Dak Prescott, my next note, a woman accusing Dak Prescott of sexual assault has filed a police report over the alleged incident in 2017. The woman went to police after the star quarterback of the Cowboys sued her on a $100 million extortion claim. Dallas police say there is an ongoing investigation after a report was filed earlier this week about an alleged sexual assault in the parking lot of a strip club back in 2017. Oh, my God. I'm just ready for the weekend. Here's another thing where, can you two just not sort it out? She's trying to extort him. Dak's my guy. That's my team. And I'm like, here we go. And here's another story for you. Parking lot of a Dallas strip club, which, by the way, I wasn't at the strip club. As God is my witness, I was at a hotel next door. I went to go get a coffee.
That?
Not joking. And two gals walked up to me, ladies of the night. You could tell. It was like 7 in the morning. And they were like, excuse us, are you from Canada? And I'm like, yes. I think we know you. Back then, I was such a rube. It was 24 years ago, Darren. I was a far younger. I was Jordan's age, Director Jordan's age. Not to say you're a rube, Jordan, but can you imagine two ladies of the night coming up to you and saying they think they know you?
Right on.
Apparently, I look like a lot of Canadian men. I didn't know them. I'd never been in Dallas before. Anyways, moving on to more fun things. From the column, Scruffy's This and That, written by Mitchell Scruffy Blair at rodpeterson.com right now. Columnist and a good friend of mine. I'm quoting, should the CFL be worried? A league that wants the younger demographic to tune in may have a problem. Fox says it will be airing a prime-time U.S. college football game on Friday nights this fall. Sorry, CFL. I think a lot of the eyes that you want on your game are going to tune into Fox. I know I might, depending on what game we're getting. This won't be a problem until college football starts in September, but I wonder what type of hit the CFL will take once that season does start. They certainly won't go back to playing Sunday games, the CFL in the fall. So that's our poll question today for Kia Auto Group. And by the way, unleash the future. Kia EV6 GT at Key Yorkton Kia, where performance and innovation go hand in hand. Go to keyyorktonkia.com or call 306-783-2772 for more information. The 23 Kia EV6 GT, movement that inspires. Should the CFL be worried about Friday night college football this fall? I have not checked. I haven't looked to see what the early polls are. And I have a thought that I will get to. But I prepped you that we were going to bring this up as our poll question today. Darren, what's your answer? Should the CFL be worried that they're going to lose audience to Friday night college football here in the U.S.?
Yes, absolutely. They should be worried about it. I really believe that. And I believe that in the sense that everybody should be worried when you're in a competitive business looking for eyeballs, trying to sell tickets. You should be worried if that's the day, if Fridays was the day that, Yellowstone decided to put out new episodes on Paramount. You should always be worried about your competition and what they're doing. Not so much that, you lose sight of what you do and what makes you great, but you need to know what everybody else is doing. And it's going to take eyeballs away from you, no doubt. I think the hardcore CFL football fan that's in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, I think, they're going to choose the CFL over the NCAA. But a lot of fringe fans and a lot of fans younger that you're trying to attract to your league may choose to watch Fox and watch college football, especially because Fox is synonymously been a Big Ten network, right? They usually cover Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. And now that's going to include, the USCs and the Washingtons and the Oregons in an expanded Big Ten. So it's going to be a big game on Friday night, and it could be a problem for the CFL.
Well, I think that at some point you need to stop being afraid. And it's funny because in the 12-step meeting that I chaired this morning, we talked about the concept of freedom and what that means to you individually, because I feel like it means something different to everybody else. And one of the guys stepped up and said, it means lack of fear. I'm not scared of anything anymore. And it was basically freedom and recovery, those of us that have stopped drinking and in some cases drugging and turned our lives around. But lack of fear. At some point, you got to stop being worried. And for me, I'm voting no. I don't think the CFL needs to be worried about Friday night college football. And as a matter of fact, 82% of our respondents say the same thing. CFL should not be worried about Friday night college football being played in the U.S. and aired in Canada. And by the way, Tom in Calgary writes in and he says the CFL should be played on Saturdays and they should stick to a set schedule. CFL football Saturday. Increase the salary cap to $7 million, decrease roster size to 40. And then he puts in quotation marks, you are failing the fans if you are not putting out the best product on the field. Yes and no. Tom's a friend of mine, said some very nice things. Him and his friend Al Nickel at a Stampeders game last summer where I officially met them in person. But the NHL going from 21 teams to 32 teams, the product isn't anywhere near what it used to be, and nobody cares. So the CFL as a league, as a product, it didn't have any problems, right? It's the marketing around it, and it does have a tremendous brand. I don't give credit to the guys that are in there marketing it now. I give it to the guys and gals for the last 100 years that built that brand to where on a Friday night, I don't think people are going to turn in to watch Michigan play OSU in Canada when they don't really even know who the players are. They don't. If it's the Winnipeg Blue Bombers against the Hamilton Tiger Cats on a Friday night in Canada, that's what Canadians are going to be watching. Is that not what we're talking about? Losing Canadian viewers? Now, having said that, as a guy that worked in the CFL for 20 years, I do remember standing in my broadcast booth and having TSN people in there with me, and I said, 15 years ago, are you worried about the NFL? Because at that time, CFL viewership was up here, NFL was here, and in the time since, it's gone, whoop. They're like, no, not worried at all. And that's kind of the thinking that I'm got now. Do you know what I mean? But it's apples and oranges. Yeah. Nothing was going to stop the NFL machine. What did we just say earlier? The teams switch players every year. Nobody cares. Ratings go up. College football is not that. The NFL has moved into Canada and, dare I say, become Canada's pro league. College football hasn't and will never. I don't care how many Canadians even go down and play in it. Have I got you convinced that the CFL shouldn't worry? Or am I blowing hot air?
No, I actually love that you think that the CFL shouldn't worry. And I love that our viewers are saying the same thing. I think that's great. It shows a great passion for the game. The only thing I would say, when I say be worried about it and I vote yes, it's more about be aware of it, I guess, because, again, it's the fringe viewers they're going to attract. It's the younger audience that won't really hurt the numbers until they become the older audience. And if that's where their patterns are watching college football, 5, 10, 15 years from now, that's when we'll see the effects of it.
Don in Ottawa says you're right, Rod. Canadians in general and the CFL in particular got to stop being scared of U.S. culture. Let's be proud of our accomplishments. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the CFL is already competing against college football on Saturdays. Yes, and winning. Next thing you know, we can't go up against high school football. Oh, my God. Finally, it's got to end. Stop being scared of this stuff. I'll see you in hour 2.
You betcha.
Jim Barker's in next. We're live on the Game Plus Television Network, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Oh, man, we're into it, and we got some good stuff today. Buffalo Bill writes in from North Dakota. He says, I found the CFL in the 90s because of the CBC over the air in North Dakota. Rod Pedersen at the time was my primary source for CFL coverage and still is. Meanwhile, John Ohm in Winnipeg says, Friday Night Football on TSN is an institution. It's been a great brand for over 25 years. No worries on my end. So there's that, and let's please bring in Jim Barker, our football analyst, and JB Barks, if you don't mind. We have breaking news, if you've seen, from your network, TSN. Aaron Donald announcing his retirement after 10 seasons at the age of 32 in the National Football League. I'll be honest, I didn't see that coming. Did you?
No, not at all. Not at all. First I've heard of it. You're on it more than I am.
How about that?
I didn't know that our Aaron Donald was even thinking of it. But, it's a shame. But, these guys, they get to a point where their body's at 32 and to go through what you have to go through to make it through an NFL season. And they make so much money that, what's another, 30, 40 million a year, whatever it is. So again, nothing surprises me when it comes to, players making decisions to move on and things like that. So, but yeah, no, it catches me off guard.
caught me off guard. And literally, what else has he got to prove? He's won his Super Bowl. He's made his money, and at his peak, so many people thought that he was the best player in football, quarterbacks included. So bravo to Aaron Donald and a Hall of Fame career. I don't think there's any doubt, but he's announced his retirement here this morning. You know, Jim, I always try to think from a football guy perspective because I'm a media guy, not a football guy like you. And people are saying how the NFL is a copycat league and guys are GMs are trying to copy the Super Bowl champs. If you were building an NFL team, like an expansion team right now, would you be signing an older guy like Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, or going through the draft and developing a young quarterback, or praying a Brock Purdy takes you to the Super Bowl on his first contract? Like, how would you go about it? Because there's no real one proven way right now, is there?
Well, I'd put together a 5-year plan of how we're going to get that guy. And if it means we play with Russell Wilson, but in doing that, we go out and draft, maybe we think Drake May is the guy, or we think that, one of the quarterbacks that maybe will fall down a little and we're going to trade up to get him. You have to have a plan. And, that's what we did. That's what I've done everywhere I've been. I mean, in Toronto, when I got there, the first thing I did in 2010, when I came the second time, was I fired every quarterback. We were the only team in professional football. We didn't have a quarterback on our roster because that's where you have to start. And, you look around at what the long-term play for what you can do. And again, it actually worked out. And we did some things in order to secure the ability to get a Ricky Ray. Now, did I know it was going to be Ricky Ray when I first got hired? No. I knew about maybe halfway through that first season I was there, that Ricky Ray's going to be a possibility. And we then started gearing everything toward being able to get him because I felt like he was a guy who could take us to that level. It's harder in the CFL than it is in the NFL, just because the number of players that we have to choose from is much different, and a lot of times the good players come up here, and who knows how long they're going to be, and that kind of thing. So it's a little more difficult, but I would go about it the same way. I'd say within 5 years we have to have, if not the best, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. How do we go about doing it? And you have a plan from the beginning, because without that you're not going to win. I mean, it just doesn't happen where you want to have a solid team all the way around. There's no doubt about that. But you have to have a plan for how you're going to, move forward at that position. And, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers now. So, there's no way that they went into it, believing that the kid from Pitt was going to be their guy. That he was not going to be their guy right away. Now they go and they get Russell Wilson. They can take another couple years and develop it. And it's a little bit like the whole Justin Fields, Caleb Williams situation. There's people that say that'll create a bad. I find it fascinating. Right now, they're holding on to both. And Ryan Pace is doing a great job of trying to surround whoever their quarterback is with the right players. You think, wow, how good would they be if they could go out and get Marvin Harrison? Well, they go out and sign trade for Keenan Allen. So now they have DJ Moore and Keenan Allen in their receiving core, and that's pretty darn good. So again, I think they're making a plan. If it's not Justin Fields, which I don't think it is for the Bears, to bring Caleb Williams in and keep Justin Fields there, there's nothing wrong with that. Justin Fields' value right now is maybe a 4th or 5th round pick. That's just where the market seems to be for guys in that situation. So, it's interesting. The Atlanta Falcons, were they going to have Desmond Ridder as their guy? No. Now, what's Kirk Cousins? Does he come in to give them time to say, okay, we're going to find a way to get this guy or that guy? because I just don't believe Kirk Cousins is the long-term answer. Obviously, they think he's going to be a guy that's a short-term, kind of like the Colts when they went after Matt Ryan. Very similar type of situation. I just can't believe that's their end play. But again, to me, you have to have a 4 or 5 year plan. You can't just wing it.
Yeah, I can't believe that was the plan in India either. And there's no way, at 35, I don't think it is in Atlanta. But I got to ask you this. People are sending me these articles of these insane things that Caleb Williams is saying. Number one, he wouldn't go through the on-field testing in Indy. That's not new. His own medicals he wouldn't do with specific teams, right? He wouldn't do those. And now he's saying veterans can't look him in the eye. Did you see this? Once he's drafted, wherever he goes, if it's Chicago or wherever, the vets can't look him in the eye till they earn his respect. What are you trying to do? Like, if I'm Chicago, I'm hanging on to Justin Fields because this guy sounds like a loon. He's like he's trying to destroy his own draft stock. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, he's a little different dude. There's no doubt about it. And that's what we talked about. You don't know what you're getting. You know you're getting a quarterback who has the skill set of Patrick Mahomes. The closest thing to Patrick Mahomes that's come out of college football. There's no doubt about it. He can throw from all different arm angles. He's just got that ability. But you don't know about the other stuff. You don't know about what is he like in the locker. You know, you hear the stuff that they want you to hear, but you don't really know. Lincoln Riley might know, but Lincoln Riley hadn't coached in the NFL. This guy's never been in an NFL environment. And there's a lot more to play in the quarterback position in professional football than just playing quarterback, which is what he did at Oklahoma and what he did at USC. You look at our league, I think there's a huge difference between being a backup and a starter. Dane Evans, same guy, but he comes into training camp as a starter and everything changes. The whole organization, people's jobs, you look around, people's families are counting on you. That's a big that's a big difference and a big different kind of pressure. And Caleb Williams hasn't felt any of that. He just hasn't. He's been in situations that he hasn't. And again, I mean, you know, one of those, if he goes to the Bears, you know, one of those veteran linebackers or somebody who's been in the league for a long time, you know, is going to go grab him by the face and look him in the eye and say, I'm going to look whoever the hell I want in the eye, buddy. And that's the way it is here. I don't know. I just know how it is.
It won't last long, basically what he's saying. So, but people, they love hearing the old stories. And I have to ask you this. You brought up Ricky Ray. I mean, I was in the league at the time. When we heard of the trade, we were like, what? And people in the Edmonton Eskimos office were like, what? We just traded Ricky Ray to Toronto? If I may, was it not, off the top of my head, Steven Giles, Ronald Flemings, and maybe some other guy I haven't heard of?
No, it wasn't Ronald Flemings. It was Steven Giles and the kicker punter who ended up playing there for a few years, the Canadian.
Pfeffer?
And a first-round draft pick.
Well, listen, man.
Grant Shaw,
that's
who it was.
Yeah. Good job, Clark, producer. My mind's starting to go, Jim. But even still, I saw a thing this week.
I hear you. I wouldn't remember Grant Shaw like that in the old days.
Well, I saw a thing that said worst trades in NFL history, like because they're talking about Russell Wilson going from Seattle to Denver and what Denver gave up and how long Russell Wilson stayed is a terrible trade for them. I would say that Ricky Ray trade, Edmonton to Toronto, would go down as, from your perspective, one of the best. From Edmonton's, one of the worst. I mean, Hall of Fame quarterback.
Well, again, I had worked with Eric, so I knew how Eric felt about high-priced players. He was always trying to be able to pay the middle part of his roster more money. And I think he felt like I knew he loved Steven Giles because, again, we had been together before and talked quite a bit. And I mean, kind of not a funny story, but a story is I knew Steven Giles was coming off of a shoulder injury and he was healthy around the midway point of our season. in 2011. And Cleo Lemon was our quarterback at the time, but I had to get Giles on the field in order to prove to Eric, even though Eric and I had not even discussed it at this point, that Stephen Giles could play. And I pulled Cleo Lemon at halftime of a game and put him in because I just felt he was healthy enough. And, Cleo Lemon was there as a stopgap, like a lot of quarterbacks that are out there are. He was not going to be a guy who was going to take us to the Grey Cup, in my opinion. And so I did him a bit of a disservice in that I pulled him out and there was no real great reason for it, and played Giles a lot of the rest of the way. And then we ended up making the trade, and it evolved into being something that the organization had to do. And there was a lot of talk about, Cleo should have stayed in and should have been. And that's why when things happen and people don't really understand why they happen, when you trust the people that are there to do what they're supposed to do, that was the whole reason behind it. Was Stephen Giles healthy? Well, if Stephen Giles is healthy, that gives us an opportunity to potentially move him in a deal for Ricky Ray. And sure enough, at the end of that 2011 season, that's exactly what happened.
I've heard Eric's side of it 67 ways from Sunday. And it don't matter how you want to explain it. And in Edmonton, the franchise went fast, right? But I do remember that era when BC, so you were in Toronto, you had Cleo Lemon playing at quarterback. You played BC with Travis Lulay at quarterback. We called it the Braley Bowl, right? Because David Braley owned both teams.
Yeah.
But it was also the Lulay Lemon Bowl. Travis Lulay versus Cleo Lemon. Good times. Jim, believe it or not, we are out of time. I appreciate this, man. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll do it again next week.
And don't worry. Do not worry. Put me down as do not worry about college football coming in on Friday nights.
All right. I'll put you down as a no. You're with me on that one.
Put me
Thank you,
down
Jim.
as a no.
Appreciate
as long as they don't bring curling in, like a league of curling on Friday nights in the fall, we're going to be okay.
Gotcha. Okay, we will debate that and more when we come back, everybody. It's got a sports update, audience takeover, and we'll kick around what I knew would be a hot button topic, our poll question, which if you don't know, Jim just brought it up, but we'll tease it and talk about it when we return right after this on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at IKSGameDay.com.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Foreigner, live in Moose Jaw. Foreigner is back. The Farewell Canada Tour. You're as cold as ice. May 13th, the Moose Jaw Event Center. Foreigner, with
special guest, head pins. Tickets on sale now at sasktix.ca and the Moose Jaw Event Center box office.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, and upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Sports fans, reward your love for movies and sign up for Landmark Extras for free today. Get more of what you love. Free movies and concession items, invitations to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. Visit landmarkcinemas.com for details or to sign up today. Okay, Ontario, you viewers on Game Plus TV, and baseball fans across Canada, stand up. We've got Ernie Whitt coming up in hour 2. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. I know a lot of people, I would say the majority of our viewers do know who Ernie Whitt is, but for those that don't, Leo Ernest Whitt is an American former professional baseball catcher. He played 15 seasons in the majors, including 12 for the Toronto Blue Jays, and was the last player from the franchise's inaugural season of 1977 to remain through 1989. He's managed the Canadian national baseball team since 2004. He was inducted into the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame in 1997 and the Canadian Baseball Hall of Fame in 2009. Ernie Whitt. So most of you know who he is, but for those that don't, I've just read his bio. And how about this? I want to know if you remember this, Torontonians. Ernie Whitt invested in and was part owner of the Mother's Pizza chain in Southern Ontario in 1983. He would frequently appear at the restaurants and sign autographs for fans. Mother's Pizza featured an Ernie Whitt special on the menu. The chain went bankrupt in 1992. Ernie Whitt will be the guest speaker at the Regina Red Sox annual fundraising banquet this spring. For years and years and years, I emceed that banquet, and to be honest, I kind of wish that I was doing this one. Ernie Whitt will be the guest speaker. They always try to bring in a baseball great and, if possible, a Blue Jays great. And this year, it's Ernie Whitt. So we'll give you more details next hour as to how you can buy a ticket or a table to go watch. But, man, would he have story after story after story. And by the way, not only is he on because of our friendship with the Regina Red Sox, but my personal friendship with Dustin Mulliken, a member of the Canadian men's national baseball team. Ernie is his skipper, and Dusty got us the number. So, yeah. How many of you remember the Mother's Pizza chain? And I apologize as I open up the text line, 902-518-3033. There's questions that have now come in for Jim Barker after he joined us, so I apologize for that. I guess we'll push it to next week for JB. Sports update on this Friday. The Winnipeg Jets host the Anaheim Ducks in one of just 2 games in the NHL schedule tonight. With a win, the Jets can pull into a 3-way tie for first in the Central Division with Colorado and Dallas. Elsewhere, the Chicago Blackhawks host the LA Kings. Our breakaway picks last night, our breakaway bets. Darren had 8 correct picks out of 12 NHL games. I only had 4. So he won one, I don't mind saying. The Toronto Raptors on a 5-game skid and hungry for a win are home to the Orlando Magic tonight. The Raptors dropped all 4 games on their recent road trip, including Wednesday's 113-104 loss in Detroit, the hometown of Ernie Whitt.
How about that?
Canada's women's soccer team climbed 1 spot to number 9 in the latest FIFA rankings after an impressive run at the CONCACAF Women's World Cup. Canada outscored the opposition 14-0 in their first 4 matches before falling to the USA in the final via a penalty shootout. Sports updates brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company out of Calgary and all of southern Alberta, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca, and also brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. Coming to Landmark Cinemas on March 22nd, that's a week from today, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. In the latest Ghostbusters, the Spengler family returns to where it all started, the iconic New York City firehouse, to team up with the original Ghostbusters, who've developed a top-secret research lab to take busting ghosts to the next level. Starring Annie Potts, Paul Rudd, and Dan Aykroyd, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire in Landmark Cinemas, March 22nd. We've got time here. We've got time, and I'll allow it for audience takeover the rest of the way until the top of the hour, if you're down. I said that we would talk about our poll question today, which you don't need to throw up the logo, guys. We had logos going everywhere, and I like it. Sober Carpenter, 902-518-3033. Does the CFL need to be worried about Friday night college football? It's a great topic, great question. It was brought forth in the column that runs at rodpedersen.com every Friday from my good friend Mitchell Scruffy Blair. He brought it up. I didn't even know that Fox Network in the States is considering, or actually planning on, airing a nationally televised college football game on Friday nights. Scruffy's asking if that'll hurt the CFL. Brian writes in on the text line. He says, Scruffy Blair, there's a blast from the past. Next thing you know, old Ballsy will be popping up again. LOL. Not on my website, he won't. But I'm telling you, Brian, in Hudson's Bay, go to rodpedersen.com every day. 40 million customers can't be wrong, can they? 40 million all-time hits at rodpedersen.com. And every Friday, Scruffy's there writing a column. And it's a great one every week. Longtime friend of mine, and he said, should the CFL be worried? We covered this earlier, but I'll cover it again. It might be a decent theme through today's show. And at some point, you need to stop being worried about these things. Ooh, all leagues. CFL, we don't want to play in June because it will go up against the Stanley Cup. We don't want to play in the spring because it will go up against the we don't want to go on the Sundays because against the NFL. That one I get. But at some point, just say, we are what we are. Come watch or don't. But I'm just tired of you. Ooh. We talked not as much yesterday as I would have liked about rule changes in both the National Football League or any other league. And if the CFL doesn't need to change its rules, which reminds me, the people that were watching yesterday, No, I did not delete it. Clark, thanks for forwarding. Remember that guy, Kirk Manning, that wrote in, and he said for 31 years, he's written to the CFL, all 9 commissioners, all the general managers, the broadcasters, hoping to get the Rouge eliminated. And then he's come to me. You think I can influence getting the Rouge eliminated? I told him to move on because it ain't happening. He's written back, and he's very nice about it. This is Kirk. Emails in, and he says, at 70, that's his age, ignorant with social media, etc., I appreciate you reading my email to your large, knowledgeable audience yesterday. The NFL, NHL, PGA, NBA, and so on have debated some rule changes for decades before being implemented. Being a CFL fan guy for 50 years, seeing these other leagues striving to improve their games, the CFL seems afraid to change. I will move on soon. Until then, the Rouge enhancement of the CFL before the NHL is in Saskatoon. At least one has a possibility. Thanks, Rod. Signed, Kirk Manning. And I don't know where he is, but let's think about it. For 33 years, and he's 70 now. I'm bad at math, but that's almost half his life. He's been hanging on this, getting the Rouge eliminated from the CFL. And it ain't happening, Kirk. He said he just discovered our show, like so many others here on Game Plus Television daily and on the radio in Atlanta. This is the one thing that I don't even like about the CFL. I don't mind the Rouge. I think it's really cool that you could win a game on a single point. I love that. Whether it be a punt single, missed field goal, whatever. I don't have a problem with any of that. And, but what I do have a problem with is this mentality in the CFL. Here's an example. We had a chairman of the Rough Riders back at the time who had no business being a chairman of a pro football team. No business. But he was. And I was lamenting having two teams with the same name in a 9-team league. Two teams named Rough Riders. And he said, I like it. It's what makes us quaint. Oh, is that your term? No, it's what makes us Mickey Mouse in the eyes of the world. But as long as people think like that guy, that ain't ever going to change. And I don't personally have a problem with the Rouge. And clearly nobody else does in the CFL because it hasn't changed. Despite Kirk's 33-year campaign, since he was 37 years old, 36 years old, whatever. They don't have a problem with it, and I don't either. We'll continue with the viewer takeover when we return. Isn't it fun? Jim Lang in hour 2 and the great Ernie Whitt. We are live on Game Plus TV, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Again, everybody's pumped that it will be Ernie Whitt in hour two. He's the guest speaker at the Regina Red Sox Western Canadian Baseball League annual spring dinner. It is April 20th, by the way, at the Turvey Center. Are you going, Mike? Did you get your table? Yeah, Ernie Whitt coming up in hour two. I'm pumped. But it is a football Friday. Some Flames fans are calling it a Flames Friday after the Flames doused the Golden Knights last night to snap a 3-game slide. But it's not. It's a football Friday. So we'll take whatever topics you'd like football related here in Audience Takeover. Next hour, Jim Lang as well as Ernie Whitt. And Moose is going to be with us, too. We promised we would talk about NFL free agency grades. We've posted an article there to rodpeterson.com, and we'll go over what grades our teams had. Spoiler alert, my team, the Cowboys, were given an F by the Associated Press. Not surprised. The fun and cool question today, because it doesn't always have to be about nuts and bolts and gridiron stuff, is should the Canadian Football League be worried about Fox TV's plans to air Friday night college football this fall nationally? BW in Edmonton writes in and he says the only area CFL has to worry about is Southern Ontario. The GTA could be at risk for viewers. I guess we'll find out. Buffalo Bill writes in and says the CFL might go the way of Bonanza without new customers. Bonanza is a fantastic buffet restaurant in Canada, and it is gone. Just come on down to the Golden Corral, or in your case, Buffalo Bill. They got one in Bismarck. Golden Corral, where it's at, is where it's at, bro. John Ohm says, I watched E.T. last night, and my God, I thought he meant Eric Tillman. I did. No, the extraterrestrial he's talking about. He said, still makes me feel good after all these years. Steven Spielberg is a genius. I could tell you Eric Tillman stories till the cows come home. Like the day the security wouldn't let him into Taylor Field, even though he was the GM of the team, because they didn't know who he was. It would be very hard to believe that would happen in Saskatchewan, but it did because I was there. Jeff the Stamps fan says, has the CFL announced any rule changes for 2024? Not that I know of. Wayne in BC says, I miss hearing Scruffy's voice on your old radio show, Rod. Well, Wayne, I would advise, get over it. Move on. We have Colin in Ottawa says, NFL. The NFL is the only beast the CFL should be worrying about. But I'm keeping an eye on the UFL in case they finally make spring football work in the States. A fun hour two is ahead. Right here on Game Plus TV and Key Radio.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Will the Jets get out of round one? 58% of people are saying yes, they will. That's the last that I looked. You, Darren, did you vote? Yeah, I think you did vote yes. Did you not? Or did you vote no?
I
just
did,
to be a fly in the ointment? You did? Okay, that's 2 yeses from us. Let's call him Dave, number 3. Writes in and says, hey, Rod and Darren, the Jets will be fine. However, Hellebuck needs to find it again. If anyone wants to fight Lowry, he beats them up. Signed, Dave, number 3 in Winnipeg.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Thank you, Rick Regan. Welcome, everybody, to the funnest hour of sports talk television. Hour 2 of a Football Friday of the RP Show. We're going to do our best to keep it to football, but we got Ernie Whitt, the iconic Blue Jay, going to be joining us later on this hour because he's going to be the guest speaker at the Regina Red Sox banquet from the Western Canadian Baseball League on April 20th. Can get your tickets at info@reginaredsox.com. Jim Lang coming up, Canada's foremost NFL expert. Let's bring the Moose in. He's in Toronto, and unfortunately, Moose, you've moved there too late to go check out Mother's Pizza. But if you were watching last hour at all, I said Ernie Whitt was an investor in Mother's Pizza chain, and I asked, hey, any of you Southern Ontario people watching, can you write in and tell me what was Mother's Pizza like? Ryan Syme writes in from Oshawa. He's watching on Game Plus on the text line 902-518-3033. And he says, LOL, I remember Mother's Pizza when I was a kid. The best thing was the pictures of pop. Signed, Ryan. So I'm kind of thinking I'd like to go to Mother's Pizza, and I think I'm going to ask Ernie Whitt about it. The chain went under in 1992. Just so you know, it happens. Okay?
Yeah. I'm looking for the best pizza in Toronto and the GTA. I've heard of a few places, but Mother's Pizza, that would have been great. Old school, it sounds like, and kind of a staple. Need to find one of those here in the area.
2016 Grey Cup in Toronto. I'm there with my color commentator, Luke Mullender, former Michigan State Spartan, and Pizza was running a promo because the Grey Cup game hadn't sold out. I'm sorry, Luke, I'm going to throw you under the bus on this one. All these ads, $30, come down to Pizza, get an extra large Pizza, and 2 tickets to the Grey Cup. So we ducked into Pizza. I think it was on, oh my God, Sarnia Street, Sudbury Street, started with an S, right across from the Weston Bayshore. And Luke plops down $30 on the counter and says, give me the pizza, keep the tickets. Well, we already had passes. It's not like we didn't want to go to the game. Kirk from Toronto writes in and he says, keep the rouge. That guy, Kirk Manning, very nice gentleman, 70 years of age, not giving up his striving to get rid of the single point in the Canadian Football League. Moose, can I tell you that the 3.5-minute break is the perfect time, just enough time to crush 2 Pop-Tarts.
How about that?
I think I just heard Serena burst out laughing. I feel like that Pop-Tarts Bowl during bowl season this year was a renaissance for Pop-Tarts. There was the Pop-Tart Bowl. Remember they had like races with a mascot? Yeah. I honestly thought Pop-Tarts had died. Advertising works, folks. Advertising works. But I want to, my favorite's the strawberry. Yeah. Let me just finish the thought. We eat strawberry Pop-Tarts trying to tease ourselves and convince ourselves that it's in some way healthy because it's strawberry. And it's pure sugar, you know that. And then I like blueberry, and I'm holding in my hand double fudge because Serena bought these the other day and brought them home. Not for herself, but for me. What's your favorite Pop-Tart?
Probably that. There's a s'mores one that I like that was really good.
I bought
talking
a box
in our morning
of those.
meeting. Yeah, how we're all on this great fitness journey. You're looking good. Clark's down weight.
How about that?
It's like, I'm dropping weight too, and I'm, getting healthy. I'm in the gym every day. I'm eating right, counting my things, and Serena would be proud. All that, but through all the transition and stuff, kind of diet and nutrition went out the window, and that was one of my guilty pleasures is the Pop-Tart, man. And you know who has the Pop-Tart? The dollar store. And I lived in Saskatchewan, right across the street from a Dollarama. There's one in the mall just down the block here. And when Leanne's not looking, you go to the Dollarama and crush a box of s'mores Pop-Tart. And isn't that just perfect, right? And then
don't even feel bad about
burn
it.
the evidence. Yeah.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and he says, Pop-Tarts are really bad, but delicious. Give me chocolate. John says, Rod eats Pop-Tarts. No way, dude. Well, I didn't until the Pop-Tarts Bowl this year. It got me on a kick again. And then Serena brought them home, and Publix is charging $2 a box. It's 50 cents a package. There's 4 in a box. My God. How can you say no?
You toast it or
Colin
eat it
in
raw?
Ottawa said, either or. Generally raw because I can't wait to get it in my gullet. And the other day, we were driving around talking about that old contest we used to do. How many crackers can you eat in a minute? Remember that? You think you could eat a whole sleeve of crackers, but you could only get down like 5. And you could only do 2 Pop-Tarts in a 3.5-minute commercial break. That's how this all started.
Dust everywhere.
Dust exactly. It's like you just came out of the shop. Colin in Ottawa says, I remember that pizza promo. Toronto doesn't know that they missed a great game in the 2016 Grey Cup. I was there, and Calgary lost in overtime, right, to Ottawa. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes in, he says, as a father of a 7-year-old, I'm with Darren. S'mores is where it's at. I've been known to sneak a few. I haven't got into that box yet, but I will. They had a deal, $10, 5 boxes of Pop-Tarts. So guess how many I bought? 5.
Spicy.
2 strawberry, 2 blueberry, and the s'mores. So away we go. Okay, back on point. Ernie Whitt coming up later on. Jim Lang next segment. But Darren, here it is. I said we would talk about grades and free agency in the NFL. Disclaimer, this is just fake news. This is as healthy for you, what you're about to hear, as Pop-Tarts and Bonanza and Golden Corral. We love it. This is from the Associated Press. The column is up at rodpeterson.com right now. Amongst all the teams, and Clark, can you nudge Director Jordan, ask him which NFL team he's cheering for today? It's the Colts, right? Because he likes the horseshoe. Who's Director Jordan's team? He's asking. He does not have it. The Colts, okay. Clark's Atlanta Falcons got a B+ in this column at the Associated Press. Again, opinions like this, columns are like belly buttons. Everybody has one, and most stink. But the notes on it is they swung for the fences by giving Kirk Cousins a $180 million 4-year deal to solve their quarterback woes. Gave him another playmaker by signing wide receiver Darnell Mooney, and also added tight end Charlie Warner and acquired Moore. So there's that. Your Tennessee Titans. I should ask what grade you would give your Tennessee Titans for free agency.
I am really happy with what they've done. So I would, you lose Derrick Henry, which sucks. I would give them a B+ or an A-. I'm actually really impressed with what they've done so far.
Okay, well, I guess it depends on how you look at it, because I was about to submit the writer of this for a drug test. They gave the Tennessee Titans an A-. I guess I need to figure out how they're explaining this. Signed Calvin Ridley, 4 years, $92 million. Tony Pollard, 3 years, $24 million. Awuzie, Cushenberry, linebacker Kenneth Murray. Lost Derrick Henry, Alshire, Brewer, and Murphy Bunting. But do you not feel if you lost what I think is the best running back on the market, should that knock you down a few pegs? Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, but I think what happened was Derrick Henry had his kind of goodbye at the end of the year. He grabbed the mic on the field in front of the fans in the last game at Nissan Stadium, and we kind of knew he was done. He wants to chase a Super Bowl. So I don't think, this offseason is judged by that. I think he's already gone. So I think you did a decent job to replace that with a good running back in Tony Pollard. You secured a backup quarterback in Mason Rudolph, who Steelers fans don't like, but he won some games last year. You got a top receiver, which you desperately needed to play alongside DeAndre Hopkins and Treylon Burks and Calvin Ridley. You shored up your defense a little bit at corner, which is a big spot. And they've got the number 7 pick in the draft, and it looks like they're going to take an offensive tackle from Notre Dame. So I think the offseason's been really good for Rand Carthon.
Okay. If you're happy, I'm happy. John Ohm says this show is all over the map today. Loving it. Yes, ADD. Say it again. The big market producer. You guys have ADD with this show. Yes, we do. Thanks for noticing. The Dallas Cowboys got an F. I feel like the writer of this is a Cowboys hater. He writes it and says, so much for Jerry Jones' all-in comment. Lost center Tyler Biadasz, edge Dorrance Armstrong, and running back Tony Pollard. Signed linebacker Eric Kendricks. Maybe we just don't need to do anything. Have we thought about that? It's a 12-win team, bro. I'm becoming that guy. I can trash my team all I want, but you better not say anything about them. That's most fans, right?
Yeah, that's good. I mean, the Cowboys will be okay. They're a good football team. The offseason hinged. Jerry did say they're all in. They thought that meant Derrick Henry was coming to the Star. It didn't, but they'll still be good, and there's still moves to be made.
Hey, anybody wants to write in? And it's 1:11 Eastern, by the way. Just pointing that out there. If you're into numerology, manifest a positive outcome. We have.
Beautiful.
It works. Write in with your favorite NFL team, and I'll read you the grade, although I considerably do not agree with this writer that wrote this, but whatever. I know we got Green Bay Packers fans that have written in, specifically Jen at the Four Seasons. They gave her Packers an A. Signed 2022 All-Pro running back Josh Jacobs and released Pro Bowl running back Aaron Jones, signed safety Xavier McKinney, and re-signed All-Pro returner Keyshawn Nixon. Who do we want to read here? I'll say also, I saw Jen wrote in earlier about Aaron Rodgers, and she said, Aaron Rodgers in trouble with his mouth again. You can write in on that, but I'm not going to bite. I've officially tuned out Aaron Rodgers. Okay? So I'll just say that. I'm not a hater. For everybody that, I'm not a hater. I'm not obsessed with people that I don't like. I would say the public figure that I dislike the most is Piers Morgan. We've gone over this. Therefore, I don't watch Piers Morgan. I don't follow Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan does not exist to me. You know what I mean? So I don't sit there and go, that Piers Morgan, this is what he said. Oh, my God. Why can't people do you know what? I don't follow what Aaron Rodgers says because I think he's gone to Looney Town. You're not a hater, Darren. Why do people need to be obsessed with those that they don't like?
I know. It's mind-blowing, but, you know, here's a great lesson in all of that. The Kate Middleton situation, I'll call it, just came on my timeline of social media today, the whole Kate Middleton thing. And what it does is show me that, guess what? You're in control of what you see and what you don't see. What you consume, you'll see more of. What you don't consume, you'll see less of. So if you actively search out things that make you happy, you'll see more of it. If you search out and seek out things that, you know, make you angry and that you don't like, you'll see more of that too. Rod doesn't like Piers Morgan, doesn't watch Piers Morgan. Guess what? Doesn't see Piers Morgan on his timeline. So it's pretty easy when you figure it out.
Well, this algorithm stuff, it isn't fair. It's not fair. I told you I would kind of like to learn a little bit about the NBA, but because I don't search for it, I don't get it stuffed down my throat on my timeline, and I kind of wish that I did have some stuff from the NBA that I didn't randomly search for. You know what I mean? Buffalo Bill writes in and says, my favorite team to cheer against is the Vikings. Again, that's kind of a hate kind of thing. I mean, there's no teams that I hate either. There used to be, but there isn't anymore. It takes too much energy, takes too much time. I did ask you the other day to come up with the NHL team that you like watching the most, because aside from your own favorite team, which is the Leafs, my favorite team I like watching the most is the New York Rangers. A lot. I love the goalie, Igor Shesterkin, like the way he plays. I think Zibanejad is cool. He scored the game-winning goal in the World Juniors that I broadcast on Sportsnet Radio, so I feel a connection to him.
How about that?
I do like the New York thing, even though I don't want to go there. You know what I mean? I'm like that little kid, the little toddler with the mascot. I love you, but just stay over there. You know what I mean? Who's your NHL team that's not your favorite, that you like watching the most?
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind was Vancouver, but that's my second favorite team. And I do like watching the Canucks. But I'm going to say the Los Angeles Kings. I really enjoy watching the Kings. It has the glamour and the glitz of Hollywood. They're a good team, a deep team that has some star power. I really like still watching Drew Doughty and Anze Kopitar and some of the guys that they have there. And I'm a fan of crawling into bed now in the Eastern time zone late at night and watching a hockey game. I really like that. So the West Coast games, the LA Kings, you often get them at night. So I like watching the Kings play.
I'll get to as many comments as I can in our next segment, NFL related, when Jim Lang joins us. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, I think the Queen poisoned Kate before her death. LOL. I don't know anything about it, and I don't want to know anything about it. Brent in Wellington, Florida here says, what else is new? It's Aaron Rodgers. Now need to pick a quarterback to win a game. Now you need to pick, you pick him to win a game, but just shut up. Shut up and dribble, Aaron. Is kind of what he's saying. Moose, you're done, I guess. We'll see you later.
Have a great weekend.
Jim Lang is next, Canada's foremost NFL expert. And then after that, the great Ernie Whitt. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
At the Key Auto Group Pre-Owned Division, we're bringing back that new car feeling. No matter what, it's new to you and priced just right. No hidden fees, prices you can trust, an upfront buying experience. And it's all at keyautogroup.ca.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the city of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Everybody, glad to be here in this business, glad to be anywhere. Just a reminder to reward your love of movies. Sign up for Landmark Extras today for free and get more of what you love. Free movies and concession items, invitations to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. Visit landmarkcinemas.com. For details, please welcome in our next guest, the esteemed Jim Lang, Canada's foremost NFL insider. Hey, Jim, good to see you, my friend. And we're going to jump right into it because we never have enough time. This week of NFL free agency, the free-for-all that it is, what's your take on it?
Well, I mean, the part of the take on it is the salary cap keeps going up and up in the NFL. So teams have room to spend. That's why the Eagles got Saquon Barkley. That's why the Colts went out and got Joe Flacco. That's why a lot of these deals are made, is all of a sudden every year that cap is going up. And then it's also incumbent upon teams to make smart moves. Like Denver is carrying a ton of dead cap money because of the Russell Wilson debacle. And that hurts them. But teams who are smart with their cap and don't have a lot of dead cap money are able to spend freely in the offseason and grab guys they need. And this alters everyone's position and strategy heading into the draft. If you're the Eagles and you got Saquon Barkley and other players through free agency, you don't need to even worry about a running back going into the draft. You're going to look at other key positions. And I think that's what a lot of teams do now, Rod, is if they have the cap room, if they've managed the cap well, and they're looking at the head to the draft like, well, this is not a good draft for this position or that position. We'll sign this free agent, whether it's a cornerback or a running back or a tight end, whatever the position they think is key, and they'll worry about drafting other positions. Because unfortunately, every draft is not a good year for an offensive lineman or an edge rusher or whatever the position. So sometimes you have to go and grab a veteran.
I'm going to ask you about Caleb Williams in a second, speaking of this year's draft. But I want to big picture this because everybody's micro-focused on what each team's done. What I'm hearing from the fans is no loyalty, too dizzying, hard to follow. I'll tune back in this season. It's not hurting ratings, Jim. It's not turning people off from the NFL, this carousel of players and teams and coaches, for that matter.
I mean, unfortunately for fans, Rod, it's a cold-hearted business. The teams have no trouble whatsoever getting rid of guys, cutting them, trading them in a blink of an eye. So the players have to think that they're one hit, one injury away from never earning that kind of money again. And if you look at Chris Jones, he signed a 5-year, $160 million contract extension with the Chiefs. That's money for him. That's his family. That's generational money. And so if you can maximize your ability to earn that money and make that kind of money, of course you're going to do that because the teams are making gobs of money. And if the team decides, well, we're going to go on, they'll just throw a player to the roadside without even thinking about it. So, yes, it seems hard for fans to fathom this, but it's the cold-hearted reality of business in professional sports. You have to make the money when you have the chance to if you're an athlete.
We have breaking news on this Friday. Aaron Donald retiring at age 32 after 10 Pro Bowl seasons and a Super Bowl championship with the Rams. I feel like that caught us all off guard.
Well, a little bit. He had sort of intimated that he may or may not step away from the game after the Rams won the Super Bowl because, because of the resume you mentioned, 3 times Defensive Player of the Year, all the Pro Bowls, first ballot Hall of Famer. But he decided to play a little more, but at 32, he has this incredible football resume, but his body is pretty much intact. So he's got money, he's got a ring, he's got Hall of Fame credentials, but he'll be able to walk and, pick up his kids later and things like that. You see so many ex-athletes who have these horrible lingering injuries because they played a little bit too long. And if you've got money in the bank and you've got the championship, and you're smart enough to do it, it's like, hey, I'm just going to walk away right now because I can't do anything more to add to a resume like Aaron Donald. That's probably what he's thinking. Like, what more could he do to be better than what he has already done in his career?
I don't know which boxer it was that said it's hard to stay hungry when you're sleeping on satin sheets. So there's, right? I never forgot that, right? It's not like it used to be.
I remember talking to Dallas Clark, the tight end from the Colts, and he said there's about 3 or 4 weeks of the year where his body's not sore. And that's it. His body is sore in some way when it's a mini camp, training camp, off-season workout. There's a few weeks after the season when they actually take a vacation with family and he's not doing anything and his joints in his body don't hurt. Now that's a tight end. Now you imagine an interior defensive lineman dealing with 300-pound plus offensive linemen, it's like a car accident time and time again. So I can get why Aaron Donald's like, I don't want to put my body through that again. Mentally, I get that, Rod. I totally do, especially when you've done what he's done in his career.
Yeah, or running backs. I spent a lot of time with Earl Campbell at Super Bowl, and he's in a meta chair, right? Would he do it again? Probably. But he'd like to make the money that an Aaron Donald has, and he would have.
Now, I heard you earlier talking about Derrick Henry. If you're Tennessee, I get why they walked away from him. He's 30 years old. He's carried the ball a ton. You're not going to build your offense around him anymore. Now, going to Baltimore, he's a perfect complement to Lamar Jackson in that offense. And now they've got a lot of options in that offense with the way it's built right now. But, a running back, especially who's carried the ball as many times as Derrick Henry, and at age 30, you can only push it so far. And no matter how much you work out and how fit you are, all those collisions, Rod, they catch up to you.
Absolutely. Jen at the Four Seasons writes in and she says, I think the best move was Derrick Henry going to the Ravens. It's an interesting, and she's a Packers fan, just to point that out. Was there a best free agent move this week in your mind?
I like the Texans getting Joe Mixon from the Bengals in the trade. I did like Saquon Barkley to the Eagles. I think that's good for them. Derrick Henry's a great complement to that offense. I really like that. I don't know if you can say there's one best thing. We always try to put a grade on it the second it happens. And I think we need to take a break and take a look and see what happens. How are they going to draft? How is the player going to fit in? Just because you've traded for a player or signed a player doesn't mean it's going to work out. Russell Wilson of the Broncos is exhibit A. I mean, sometimes the player may look like it's a good fit. They get to the team and they're not a good fit. But Derrick Henry has an opportunity to do some special things in Baltimore because he won't have to carry the ball 300 times this year. There's no need for it. They're going to be able to manage, it's a load management, that term in pro sports now, Rod. So they'll be able to use him in such a way that he's fresh and healthy at the end of the season into the postseason. And that'll be key for John Harbaugh and everyone in the Ravens coaching staff, that they have this hammer and anvil with Derrick Henry that they've been managing his workload through the regular season. Come playoff time, if they want to, they can give him the ball 20, 25 times a game for that short run to the Super Bowl, hopefully.
Utah Darren writes in, he says, I watched Caleb Williams lose to Utah 3 times in a row, and he cried every time. There's no crying in football. Caleb Williams is...
How about that?
I don't know. Jim Barker's with us last hour, and Jim said when he gets into the NFL, they're going to slap the silly out of Caleb Williams. He'll smarten up when he gets into his first camp. God, I hope so, because he's acting really weird.
It is such an inexact science when you're drafting quarterbacks in the NFL. C.J. Stroud turned out to be a phenomenal rookie quarterback in the NFL. Phenomenal. I mean, look what he did with the Houston Texans. But until the player gets to the team and they start playing with men at the NFL level, you don't really know. And it's not just physical, it's emotional, mental, study habits. How do they fit in? I mean, he is going to hear some things from opposing players that he has never heard before. And Aaron Donald type defensive players will say some things to him because that's what happens in the pro sports at that level. They will try to rattle you mentally and emotionally with trash talking and see if you can handle it. And so that's where you got to grow up. I mean, all the accolades at NCAA, they mean nothing once you get to an NFL training camp. Nothing. Because now you've got to prove yourself. It's almost like you're starting at 0.0. Like everyone's going to be looking at you, especially if you're a first overall pick. Especially if you're the first overall pick. The expectations from the management, the coaching staff, and your own players will be sky high to see if you were worthy of that kind of draft pick.
Well, you mentioned something here earlier about, I think you said emotions. Call me crazy. Many have. I would draft J.J. McCarthy ahead of Caleb Williams based on his emotional maturity. And look what he did. He won a national championship with Michigan as it is. And I don't know if you know his mental health story, but he coached himself out of a dark place. He took it upon himself to do it. Obviously, I'm pulling for the kid. But here's Caleb Williams, who it appears still needs the help. If you want to talk about maturity, J.J. McCarthy's clearly first-round talent. He's moved into the first round based on the combine. I would take him.
Rod, the problem is all of us mature at different levels. I mean, and that's the fact of life. I mean, I probably wasn't mature until my 30s, if I'm being brutally honest. And I couldn't handle the kind of pressure that some of these kids are going to be under, being a top 1, 2, or 3 draft pick and a quarterback and a leader with a 250-page playbook and having to understand all this stuff. Like, I'm looking at the mock drafts, and I think the best player going into the mock draft is probably going to have the biggest impact is Marvin Harrison Jr., probably going to number 4 out of Ohio State to the Cardinals, because he's going to have a lot less to have to do than a rookie quarterback. And he's such an elite talent. I think he is going to be, for my money, when we look back in this draft, the player had the biggest impact, I think, is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. at Ohio State. I think he's going to have a phenomenal season in the NFL as a receiver.
He's a game-changing type, but that just reminds me, I guess we have time here. Marvin Harrison didn't participate in the Combine either, right? Like I asked Jim Barker this last week because he was joining us from the CFL Combine. I said, how do you feel about opting out? And Jim was like, for a lot of kids, there's nowhere to go but down. He goes, I'd opt out too. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
interesting way of looking at things.
And even the players that do go to combines, they'll often tell the personnel, I'm not going to do the bench press test. I'm not going to do this test. A lot of times you're just going there to do the interviews. They're not doing any of the physical tests. And a lot of the teams, people forget this, do a private workout with these players at their practice facility or bring them in or go to a neutral practice facility before they make their draft decision. So in the weeks leading up to the draft, say you're the Vikings or say you're the Cardinals or say you're the Bears, you will have a private workout with positional coaches, offensive coordinator, and personnel people because it's such a huge decision and it has such big ramifications on the franchise if you get it wrong. So doing your due diligence, I mean, the Combine is only one step in the process to the teams making that final decision on draft day and draft night and picking these players.
For sure. Jim, we've covered it all, I believe. We're going to bring in Ernie Whitt next. I appreciate the time, man, and enjoy the weekend.
I just want to say Colorado Avalanche, my other favorite team you were talking earlier. Think about their top three now. McKinnon, Rantanen, and Cale Makar. He's putting up ridiculous numbers, Cale Makar. I mean, it's unbelievable how good he is as a defenseman.
You want to make a Stanley Cup final pick just for fun? I won't hold you to it.
Florida, Colorado.
Ooh,
how about
I'd take it. That would be a doozy. That would be a... Yeah, you don't want to say Leafs because you don't want to break your own heart. I get it. I get it.
No,
Thanks, Jim.
It's been broken too many times. See you, bye.
Exactly. All right, Jim Lang, Canada's foremost NFL expert. Ernie Whitt is in next. We're live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody, talking baseball. The Blue Jays will look to stretch their win streak to 5 when they host the Detroit Tigers in preseason play. As a matter of fact, they are playing right now. And coming up on April 20th is the Regina Red Sox annual spring fundraising banquet, where they always bring in a Blue Jays great. And this year, it's Ernie Whitt. And he joins us now, one of the busiest guys in baseball. He wasn't going to be available after today. Ernie, we're so happy to have you. And thanks to our mutual friend, Dustin Mulligan, for lining this all up today. Thanks for coming to Regina. What are you expecting out of that event?
I'm just hoping that it's warmer than what it's been the last time I was there. I'm looking forward to it. And, you mentioned Dustin's name. What a great person he is, and tremendous contributions he's made to Canadian baseball.
Absolutely. There are, I think, only 3 players that have started an MLB game at any position, including pitcher, and he's obviously one of them. Ernie, I got to say that lifelong Blue Jay fan here, Expos and Blue Jays in the 80s, but as God is my witness, I thought you were Canadian. How much have you battled that in your life, given all the accolades that you've had in Canada? I thought you were Canadian. Till today, I figured out that you're not.
What? A lot of people have thought that. I just said I grew up outside of Windsor, so I'm basically Canadian anyways. And, the country has treated me very well. They've embraced me, and I've enjoyed every second that I've been in Canada and representing the country.
15 seasons in the majors and 12 with the Toronto Blue Jays, including the inaugural season of 1977. But it's clear you've never gotten too far away from the game. I mean, managing Canada's team internationally, our men's team. Would you mind telling our viewers and your fans what you're up to now? I see your emails at phillies.com. Working with the Phils?
Well, I was up until about a year ago, and I've since retired, and I'm doing a lot of baseball camps, working with kids, doing a few speaking engagements. But I enjoy the game. I love the game. I've got a friend that always said to me that, he never heard an umpire say work ball. It's always play ball. And, that's one thing that I've always enjoyed. I've been able to do something that I truly enjoy and love. And I still want to put back and keep going at it.
When I ask what you are looking forward to in Regina, you're going to find out, well, this, how much they love the Blue Jays in Western Canada. They love the Blue Jays coast to coast. But I wonder what it was like in 1977, coming up there. Now, again, you said growing up close to Windsor, so very close to Canada. But we weren't a baseball country then, were we? Like, compared to now? What change did you see?
Well, yeah, there's no question. It's definitely a baseball country now. Prior to that, it was strictly hockey. And it was, I think the Blue Jays did a real nice job when we came into the league. And because they were promoting us, but yet they were promoting all the stars that were playing in the major leagues at the time that was coming into Toronto, and would give them the opportunity to come and see your superstars that are playing on other organizations. And it just took some time and a lot of patience. Believe me, it wasn't easy going to the ballpark and knowing that you're probably going to get beat. That's not the right attitude to have. But for the first 3 years, it was like, okay, guys, we don't want to lose 100 games this year. Instead of, hey, let's try to win 80, 82 games. So, I mean, it was just a change. The first 3 years was really bad. After that, you could see the progress that the organization was making. They were building a farm club. We saw some of the young players come up early. Dave Steve was one of them, came up early. Then you had the 3 outfielders, Jesse Barfield, Lloyd Mosby, and George Bell. And you saw them develop. Tony Fernandez. I mean, just a lot of good ball players that came up through the system.
When you're talking about absolute icons, but then to have your hands on literally the growth of baseball in Canada and see all these major leaguers from Canada, Dusty being one, how does that feel? To have fostered the love and the sport and to have had a role in it with a nation's youth.
It's such an amazing feeling. I mean, you're just talking about it. I've got chills going up my arm because of all of the great things that we have accomplished, you know, going out and representing Canada and working with these young men. I mean, there's no better feeling than to put on the country uniform with the country's name across the front. You don't even care what name is on the back. It's all on the front. And these guys, you know, they made my job easy. It was just like, go out and play and have fun. Do what you're capable of doing. I'm not asking for anything more. Just do what you're capable of doing. And when it's over with, we'll go and have a beer and have a good time and talk about it. And we'll just go forward. But it's been a blast, to be honest with you.
Well, you know, it's not rare anymore to have a Toronto or Ontario kid to play for the Blue Jays, but I would have to get your thoughts on Joey Votto signing with the Blue Jays at age 40. As a guy that's on the cusp of the Hall of Fame as it is, and then coming home to play, how do you think this will work out?
I think it's going to be a great feeling for him. I hope he gets the opportunity to get up there and play and play close to where he grew up there in Mississauga. You know, he's had a tremendous major league career. He played for us a couple of times in the WBC, representing this country. He's a class guy in the clubhouse. I just wish him nothing but the best.
Ryan in Oshawa writes in on our Sober Carpenter text line, 902-518-3033. He says, love you, Ernie. I remember coming to Exhibition Stadium in the $4 bleacher seats. Canada loves you, Ernie. What does it feel like coming home to Canada, if it is home, which I think it is? What's it feel like every time you come back when everybody knows your name? It's like one huge bar. Cheers. Everybody knows your name, Ernie.
Oh, it feels good. I mean, you know, you can't get away from that. I just, you know what, I love the game. I played the game with passion. And when I'm managing the national team, that's all I ask our players to do is play hard, play it with passion and pride. And just remember you're representing not only yourself, your family, but your whole country. And that's the way I feel. I mean, I feel very honored that I've been with the national team for such a long period of time.
Great things to be remembered for, which, by the way, I mean, that Red Sox dinner you're coming in for, and again, for the viewers, April 20th at the Turvey Center. Go to ReginaRedSox.com for ticket information or follow their social media channels, and you can get some. Like, your legacy is fantastic. Tommy John came in and spoke at 1. And, you know, he'd like to be remembered for other things that... Did you play with Tommy? What a character.
No, he was in the National League at the time. He did come over to the Yankees and pitch a little bit. So we did, you know, our paths did cross at one time, but most of his career was in the National League.
As he would remind us many times all weekend, he's got the most wins for any pitcher not in the Hall of Fame. So there's a lot of things that he'd like to be remembered for, that he's just an absolute character. But Ryan wrote in, and we've had Cito, Rick Cerrone, just ones that I've been involved in, Devon White, Jesse Barfield, Robbie Alomar. It's complete having you there, Ernie. So I appreciate you coming and being part of that and raising money for the ball club. But this Ryan wrote in earlier with a comment, and it's my last question for you, about Mother's Pizza. And he said he remembers.
Oh, my.
And what he remembers is the pictures of Pop. Tell us something about Mother's Pizza and how you got involved in that.
Well, that was a long time ago, the early 80s, actually, and just it had an investment chance to go into, and we did it. We traveled all around just promoting pizza, and, as it turned out, it was not a real good investment on my part, but we had fun when we did it. We ate a lot of pizza and drank a lot of pop.
Well, so it wasn't the next Tim Hortons, let's put it that way. Maybe it should have been Ernie's Pizza. But, Ernie, thanks for this. Safe travels coming in, and thanks again for doing it, and thanks for all you've done, man. This is a major pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Rod. I'm looking forward to it.
Good stuff. Blue Jays great, Ernie Whitt. Interview lined up by Dustin Mulliken, our good friend, Team Canada member, former Detroit Tigers starting pitcher, and, of course, the Regina Red Sox. We'll be right back with Overtime after this. We are live on Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Hey, everybody, don't mind me. I'm just digging up my advertisement for our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes. Here it is. It's 1 week from today now. You've got less than a week to sign up for the Overtime Hockey Lanes Player Development Day. It's for kids aged 7 to 12. Now is the perfect time to go check out Overtime Hockey Lanes, our overtime partner, where kids can just be kids. You'll have lane time, learn stick handling, passing, other fun games that they have there, friendly competitions, snacks, and lunch. That would have got me there when I was a kid. It's $99 for the whole day, runs 9 till 3 p.m. Before and after care is available. Just go online to the website, overtimehl.ca, or email them info@overtimehl.ca and ask about their summer camps while you're at it. It's in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. I want to say Western Canada's hockey capital. I'm going to do a sports update here in a moment. We do audience takeover here. Trent in Norway writes in and he says, Norway here. Will Derrick Henry's move to the Ravens mean they get to the Super Bowl? Trent is the king of rhetorical questions because none of us know as we sit here on March 15th if the Baltimore Ravens are going to the Super Bowl with Derrick Henry or not. But I'm reading it anyways. Randy from Winnipeg says, will the Bears use a pick on the top quarterback? Where did it go? Or stay with Justin Fields? Either way, they will have nice weapons. Don't you guys have all the questions today? Falling Rock writes in, he's a Blue Jays fan. He says, rest in peace, Tony Fernandez. Awesome shortstop. And says, all Saskatchewan ads, LOL. Well, of course, that's where the show is produced and based. The good old 306. Jen at the Four Seasons says, can't wait for Regina Red Sox season to start. One game at a time. Well, you can get that old Red Sox feeling, Jen, by heading down to the Turvey Center for the fundraising dinner for Water Warehouse. Get your tickets at reginaredsox.com. Jen also says, I would say if you are traded to the Raiders via the Packers, that's where your career dies. You're talking about Devontae Adams specifically? Buffalo Bill writes in and says, have a great weekend, enjoy the weather, and tailgating. For those inclined, we will be hosting a Cats and Bolts podcast tailgate party Saturday. It runs 1 to 5 in the parking lot of American Bank Arena ahead of the Battle of Florida, Lightning and Panthers. I'll be there 3:30, 4. We'll see how long it takes Goldie the Jeep to go. I'm going to take the long way. Allie in Texarkana writes in, she says, have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy St. Patrick's Day. Oh, my God. St. Patrick's Day used to be my Super Bowl. One of them. Utah Darren says the Chicago Bears are where quarterbacks go to disappear or die. We saved one day not talking NHL to Utah, not getting in a fight. That's a good thing. That's a win. I need some help with this one. Clark, maybe you can help with the answer because it's specifically directed to Moose, and I don't know that we can answer it, but Gary in Penticton, Gary with 2 R's, writes in and he says, good afternoon. You and Moose make a great team. I like your expertise on all sports and love the guests you have on the show. Keep up the good work. P.S. Moose, where did you get that tag? And what does it mean? Thanks. Do we have any idea, Producer Clark, what he's referring to? Tag? What does he mean, tag? Moose? Oh, wow, okay. That good one, Clark, because I would never have picked that up. Was it Jordan? Thanks for deflecting credit to director. Where'd you get that tag? Moose DuPont. Gary, you're obviously not a 70s hockey fan. Or even 80s. Because it's funny because Randy Moeller is the television color voice of the Florida Panthers, and he was on our Panthers podcast, and he said his first defensive partner in the NHL with the Quebec Nordique was Moose DuPont. But if you don't know who Moose DuPont is, the first one, you know who 2.0 is, but if you don't know, it's Andre, right? 1.0? That's where he got it. Sports update. The Raptors, or are we calling them the Craptors now? Will look to snap a 5-game losing skid when they host the Orlando Magic. Toronto dropped a 113-104 decision to the Pistons in Detroit on Wednesday. They sit 12th in the East. Just 2 games in the National Hockey League. Connor Hellebuck and the Jets host the slumping Anaheim Ducks. Later, the LA Kings will visit Connor Bedard and the Chicago Blackhawks. NLL, the National Lacrosse League, pushes further into the March to May with 6 weeks to go in the regular season. This Friday and Saturday, it's a full schedule of 7 contests, including an NLL Game of the Week on TSN doubleheader on Saturday, featuring the first-place Toronto Rock against the defending champion Buffalo Bandits. For the full schedule, go to NLL.com. Sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Horizon, an American Saga. In this one, An American Saga explores the lure of the Old West and how it was won and lost through the blood, sweat, and tears of many. Produced by and starring Kevin Costner. And we're also brought to you by Common Crown Brewing Company, turning your everyday common beer into a unique and exceptional experience. Visit commoncrown.ca. Boom. Colin in Ottawa says we didn't even get to talk about the Elks being put into private ownership. Sad how a once mighty franchise had fallen. Too depressing for us today. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday, noon Eastern, here on Game Plus and Key Radio.
Who has more fun than us?
Approved.